Devil Hunters Chainsaw Man chapter 137 titled, and let me try and get this in one take. Choo choo loving, choo choo loving. I promise that's gonna make sense in a second because the title actually comes from a band called Maximum the Hormone, and that title specifically is from one of their songs that came out in 2007. If you didn't know that and you read the chapter initially like I did before Twitter gave me the knowledge that this was a song reference, then you would be completely out of the loop. So let me go ahead and educate you. You know, there's so many character developments we say about Denji where he comes in strides, and at the end of the day, he's down bad. And for better or for worse, I'm a little torn on this. There's one side of me that's like, Denji's going to stay true to his character. He's always down bad with women, and we just kind of have to take it for what it is. But the beginning of the chapter really got me excited because I appreciate how he takes the moment to reflect on the situation in front of him, expressing his skepticism. But when you put that self-reflection aside, this is the moment where, you know, Denji gets down bad and he immediately goes and licked the tentacle of this squid because the woman told him to. And, you know, that's a little bit weird. And it doesn't help that he even does it in a risque manner. And it just like, oh God, it's so hard to root for Denji sometimes. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. Why did Denji go ahead and lick this squid tentacle? Well, because the girl just flat out said, we can go ahead and, you know, get intimate if you go ahead and suck on this squid like it was a popsicle. Regardless, we go ahead and transition things over to the karaoke bar because the girl says, hey, you know, I have a friend of a friend. They're just gonna bat their eye the other way when we do our dirty deeds. It looks like it's too easy for Denji. And then of course, well, it does, because this is when the chapter turns in the most chaotic thing. There's a moment when Power and Kobeni gets into the car in the International Assassins arc, and then they run over Denji, one of the American assassins, and you're like, wow, this is just so random. But this is literally the most random thing I've seen within all of Chainsaw Man, because this girl, who's still unnamed by the way, starts singing her lungs out. If you just read it for face value, and I'm just looking at it from the biz translations, you see smooch smooch, lovey, droopy droopy, horny horny, and then it says jiggle jiggle, boing boing. Look, the onomatopoeia of sexual innuendos are being thrown out there. And initially, although confusing for me and Denji, he doesn't write it off entirely, suggesting that this whole thing couldn't possibly be an elaborate trap. And well, this is when it does, because now we see there's an actual manga panel of people who are just lined up out the door trying to get a thrashing on Denji. And well, Denji, applaud for not turning into Chainsaw Man, mind you. He just goes up towards each and every one of them, starts taking them out, while this girl is still in the middle of her song, singing the lyrics to this song by Maximum the Hormone. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, the funny thing about the chapter is that as it continues going on and try to pick apart what the song is trying to convey, and I think in a nutshell, this is my just simple understanding of it, it's going against the norm, doing whatever you want, being free, etc. Despite this girl most likely trying to assassinate Denji, the way the song is turning out and how the chapter turned out, from Denji being confused, from being violent for the sake of being violent, towards how it plays out at the very end, I predict that what Fujimoto is brewing now is going to be a legitimate relationship with Denji and this girl. Now, we'll talk about whether or not Yoshida had this mapped out fully, because I think that's going to be a little bit questionable, but whoever this mysterious girl is, and even if she's contracted with the rock and roll devil, or well, she's contracted with the devil, the adrenaline junkie devil, this is all to say, I think this energy is much needed and much appreciated for Denji, and arguably one of the most critical points in his character and where we are in Chainsaw Man, right? You have someone who's down, depressed. Asa's taking this credit. He can't be Chainsaw Man. The perception of Chainsaw Man as a whole is just a very mixed bag of stuff. But here's this girl who tries to assassinate Denji, or I think this could still be a random act of love. And although it's a threatening situation, it's a very liberating moment for his character. And despite him being exhausted, where he asks the girl, hey, I hope there isn't a second verse to this, and the girl picks up the bat and says, no, not really. I can really see this map out like that movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, where they're both spies and they're trying to assassinate one another, but then at the very end, or throughout the course of the movie, you just see them both passionately fall in love and get together and hook up. And as a whole, that's the chaotic nature of their relationship. So this might be an ultimately destructive bad move for Denji, but it's also the most liberating at the same time. And now I don't think this girl is going to leave our sights anytime soon. As a matter of fact, this might be a strong contender that gets Asa jealous. Look, we're all gonna root for Asa in the end, and I hope she still ultimately gets with Denji, but I think this girl now isn't a flavor of the week. I think this girl might stick around Chainsaw Man for quite some time, or at least for this main arc in particular with the Chainsaw Man Church of Society. And now we're going to see that Denji might actually get get his cake and eat it too. Like, he might actually get with this girl and hook up with this girl, and I think that's gonna be good for his character. But now it's going to really create this tumultuous love triangle between Asa and Yoru whenever they come to surface with it. Now let's go ahead and just quickly talk about Yoshida, because although Yoshida has been very questionable with his acts and where he really lies in terms of doing things for the benefit of humanity or for the sake of his secret organization he's working for, did he know that this girl was going to set this up where she was going to take Denji to this karaoke bar, sing this song that is just absolutely crude in every single way, that's kind of rebelling against the man, and then ultimately if she assassinates Denji, that's good, but if not, that's fine, because now Denji can actually settle down and have a girlfriend? This is the weird thing. Did Yoshida pick this girl because of who she's contracted with, or pick this girl not knowing what she was going to bring to the table, leading us to the results we got here in chapter 137? I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. And at this point, I've given up what Fujimoto's going to try and do with this story, but I will say more than anything, we're probably going to stick around with Denji and this girl and not transition elsewhere. We'll probably get the name of this girl, and that's going to allude most likely to the person she's contracted with, or maybe even give us hints about Yoshida's organization and their end goal game is with that. But as I stated earlier, Maximum the Hormone is the name of the artist, and I would actually implore each and every one of you to check out the music video they put out. They actually re-released the song about a month ago. They put out a music video with this song, so go ahead and check out the updated version, and maybe Fujimoto has some plans or some subtle hints and foreshadowing if we digest that music video or just the song in particular and break it down, what it could mean for Denji and this future character in the series. But go ahead and join me for the live stream later on today while we pick apart more what the song means and just kind of have fun with the chapter. Take care, everyone.